A very warm welcome as you join us this morning on Aso Morning. My name is Dr. Joy Asonye. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, just like I did. It's good to be back here. We are thankful, especially to the Almighty Father, for yet another opportunity to be here. As usual here on the show, we'll start with a newspaper review segment where we look at stories that made front page this morning, analyze those stories, get you abreast with what's going on around Nigeria, then move on to our interview segment. Today we'll be talking about relationships, mental health. How do you navigate sometimes toxic relationships, especially in Africa, where marriages are often looked at a certain way, and when you have to leave, even if it's for your health and for your life, you're still perceived as one that is bad. Promises to be an interesting conversation. We'll move on from there to discuss the planet, sustainability pulse, where we'll be talking about environmental adaptation, climate change, how you too can be responsible and responsive to what's going on around the world. Well, agriculture for today and tomorrow will be right next with those smart agriculture tips. You can learn how to contribute to Nigeria's food security. Like I said, it promises to be packed with very interesting segments today. And that'll be it for today's edition. But we'll go for a short break now and return with the newspaper review segment. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future.
Welcome back from that. It's time for the newspaper review segment. And to jumpstart today's segment, we'll go straight to the Daily Trust newspaper. The Daily Trust has also analyzing or assessing the Yobe State Governor's second term in office. We have splattered across the Daily Trust, taking the entire page this morning, all the key projects and programs of the governor of Yobe State, that's Governor Buni. We have here buildings. I think this is a school. It's unclear at the moment, but you could pick up the paper to know what Governor Buni has been up to in his first half term of his administration. However, beyond that story, the Daily Trust also has an auto crash, last moment of Kano 22, talking about the auto crash that took the lives of several athletes, journalists last weekend. It was really sad. Condolences also go to their family. That was a really sad one. But the Daily Trust has a report of their last moment of the 22 people who lost their lives in that crash. We move on now to the Daily Sun newspaper. The Daily Sun newspaper has as its lead story, pressure mounts on 4 PDP governors to join APC. Pressure mounts on 4 PDP governors to join the APC. Okay, well, the governor of Osun State has made it clear that he has no intention of leaving the PDP, as he believes the PDP does not have issues they cannot resolve internally, even though they've been having so many issues right there. It's almost as if they take one step forward and 2 steps backwards. But pressure is mounting on 4 PDP governors. I know the Ondo State Oyo State Governor, right, also is PDP at the moment. It's unsure if he is considering a defection. Why is it so important to have these governors defect to the APC? I know consultations, engagements, conversations are rife towards 2027 elections, but why is it so important? Some have criticized this move by the APC as wanting a one-party system. I applaud it. We have peculiarities in our democracy here in Africa, in Nigeria especially, where it doesn't have to be a one-party system per se. However, we have vicious, I think that's the word, vicious and politicians. No, politics is a game of numbers. If the PDP do not want a one-party system, then they should get their act right and make their political parties so attractive that members will not consider leaving. Imagine a member telling the world that he finds the PDP a flight, that's how he calls it, a jet that's unable to take you to 2027. That also tells you how it is perceived. A jet that cannot take you to 2027. So if you're already having this rift within the party, it's only natural that people will want to leave. And that's what we are seeing here, but pressure mounts. And the writer under the story says, Nigeria's democracy under state capture. Ex-Senate President Wabara. Wabara is also doubles. He is also the BOT, the PDP BOT chairman, talking about democracy under state capture. That's how he tags it. We have other stories here. Federal government authorizes employees compensation scheme for public workers. Federal government authorized employees compensation scheme for public workers. Authorizes. Okay, let me read an excerpt under the picture here. It says, Oluwaseun Falaye, Managing Director, Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, pays strategic visit to the head of Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Esther Wabon-Jack, as federal government commences the full implementation of employees' compensation scheme for all public sector workers. That has been in the pipeline for a very long time. I'm unsure if we would have that vibrant implementation where if you spend longer hours in the office, you should be compensated. Are we there yet in Nigeria? Where in case you are ill or based as a result of the work that you do, the federal government compensates you. If for any reason out of the agencies, maybe what's the word now? Carelessness. I think that's it. Carelessness can go. If for any reason out of carelessness you get injured at work, would you be compensated? Would the NSITF's managing director ensure that? It'd be interesting to know, but it's interesting. Compensation for public sector workers, that's very important. But moving on from that story, we have FCTA refutes claims of religious indoctrination in schools. FCTA refutes claims of religious indoctrination in schools. I'm reading this for the first time, but I don't think the FCTA, well, I've not done my report, but the FCTA is refuting allegations of or claims of religious indoctrination in schools. Niger flood, more bodies recovered as government puts death figure at 153. More dead bodies. Oh, that's very sad right there. I really hope that the evacuation is fast. You don't want bodies littering. That comes yet again with other attendant issues. So according to the Daily Sun newspapers, government has put the death toll at 153 from that flood. We really need to start looking into mitigation plans to ensure that we do not have this devastating flood incidences all the time. I'm sure there are ways we can do something. I always remind us that the Nigeria Meteorological Agency always tells us the flood-prone areas, the flash points to look out for, and yet every year it comes as a surprise. We record these deaths, and it's unfortunate that we are dying from issues that we really must start taking seriously. And that is why when we include the environmental segment, the sustainability pulse is a program to create awareness from Aso television as to what you too can do to mitigate. Let's not clog up our waterways. Let us be responsible in our usage of plastics and all sorts. Let's ensure there are proper water channels as well, and government must take the lead in all of this. And so we cannot afford year in, year out to be recording this debt. Again, 153 have died. I read a report over the weekend where it says as many as 500 are still missing. I don't know if that number is still, if some have been found and all that. And we have a very concerning evacuation and response time here in Nigeria. So that's another issue. When that flood came, or when it was imminent, did we have fire service, for instance, trying to evacuate people? That's that's questions we must answer. 153. That's a lot of people who have lost their lives this morning. Beside the masthead of the Daily Sun newspaper, Atiku, El-Rufai, Amechi, Sanusi slam Tinubu's government. Atiku, El-Rufai, Amechi, Sanusi slam Tinubu's government. Our businesses on life support, manufacturers, MSMEs, cry out, says 18,000 jobs lost in 2024. Oh my goodness, that's another very unfortunate news right there. We already know the role that the MSMEs, that's the micro, small and medium scale enterprises play in our democracy, in our collective economic growth. They take about, I think I read a report, 60-something% of our workforce, our labor force. So if we lose as many as 18,000 jobs, it is really significant. It goes beyond palliatives. These are shocks that businesses are facing. It reflects in everything. It reflects in the number, the unemployment rates that we are recording. How can a country as ours be recording with a vibrant youth population, not just vibrant youth population, intelligent, smart, energetic, and innovative young people? We are recording 40% unemployment in Nigeria. We are recording 18,000 job loss in Nigeria, a country as blessed with so much potential as ours. Very unfortunate indeed. And so the government should look beyond rice palliatives and ensure enabling environment for businesses to thrive. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, for instance, has been in the news over and over, telling governments that it's becoming very tough to do business. While we should advertise for foreign direct investment, let's get investment in country. Nigerians are groaning, manufacturers are groaning. We're losing 18,000 jobs. So it's another place the government should really look into. And that's it for the Daily Trust newspaper. We quickly move on now to the Daily Times newspaper this morning. Daily Times is taking us straight to the judiciary, talking about judiciary workers begin national indefinite strike today. Judicial workers begin national indefinite strike today. You and I know the enormity of this, where judicial workers go on strike. It means sittings would be affected. It means a lot would really be affected in having court sittings. But why are they going on strike? That story rather is on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper. You can pick it also to know all about that. Nigeria's security and political economy, that is on page 16, and editorial you too can pick up to read. IOCs not exiting Nigeria. Presidency is saying that the international oil and gas companies not exiting Nigeria. The president is assuring that IOCs are not leaving Nigeria. Away from that, federal government backs NSITF's expansion of employees' compensation for public workers. We had taken that. Amechi gave Tinubu dose of his own medicine in 2022. Wole Soyinka is saying that Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, a rushed celebration of unfinished dream. A rushed celebration of unfinished dream. Ame wrote that, and right above the nameplate, that's right above the nameplate of the Daily Times newspaper this morning, it says NDLEA arrests 2 Saudi-bound pilgrims, intercept 9.3 billion opioids. In spite of all we are recording, it always seems as if we are not doing enough. People are so brazen when it comes to drug peddling. What is going on? And in spite of the arrest, in spite of the work the NDLEA is doing, we still record very brazen people who come in with as much as 9.3 billion naira worth of opioids. Pilgrims who are supposed to be going for religious, sacred missions, journeys, have been intercepted with 9.3 billion naira worth of opioids. That is another sad one. What is sacred these days? We quickly move on from that to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. There's a bouquet of stories right here, but the lead story here is the federal government's gas-powered vehicle scheme runs into major hitch nationwide. 785.6 billion naira investment threatened. Refuel stations, conversion centers, other facilities grossly inadequate. CNG buses, other equipment rots in parking lots. Current pain is temporary. The presidential CNG initiative is saying that. Now, one of the reasons why some of us supported the removal of fuel subsidy, because we thought we could have that expedited initiative on CNG that would lighten and relieve Nigerians from the hurdle of moving around. We know how important transportation is in energizing our economy. And yet, 2 years down the line, after the proclamation or announcement of removal of fuel subsidy, we are still recording hitches. I have friends who had converted. I've not had the guts. I've spoken about it over and over. I've not had the guts, not because I couldn't have afforded it, but because facilities for refuel are not as sparse. If I have to refuel my vehicle, I have to go all the way, driving about 30 minutes to do that. Lately, while the campaign for CNG was rife, a lot of people have also joined this initiative to convert, since it's a cleaner option for our environment, is a cheaper option for vehicles. While that's going on, where do you refuel? The queues are worse than PMS queues these days. And this is Abuja. I also criticized the presidency for I think when Dangote supported with about 20 CNG buses, and the presidency gathered everyone to inaugurate about 30 buses in Nigeria. How does that help? Over 200 million Nigerians were celebrating 30 buses. I criticized that. I thought we could have some sort of subsidy in that sector that would ensure that we don't pay out of pocket for the conversions. Some of us could pay in a proper spread. Those are the kind of conversations I wanted to see. I wanted to see more stations, refuel stations across the country, expedited. But allocations were increased for governors. They do not think that's within their concurrent list or whatever, and here we still are. Again, 785.6 billion naira threatened. Well, this is Nigeria, isn't it? 2027, Tinubu should not play God. Sule Lamido is saying 2027, Tinubu should not play God. WAEC, thugs hired by parents assaulted vice principal for preventing cheating in Ondo State. Apparently, the vice principal found someone, a student, supposed to be a student, with a phone, which goes against the examination rules, and because he seized that phone, he was accosted by thugs. Very, very sad precedents we are beginning to have here, where according to the story here, parents also supported that. I always remember a couple of years ago when I was writing WAEC as well, several years ago really, when I was writing WAEC as well, and I wonder how in the world would you start that conversation with your father or parents to say, I am considering cheating in an examination like this? But here we are. According to WAEC, thugs were hired by parents. Very sad precedent. Federal government orders employee compensation scheme for civil servants. We've taken that. Debt burden, no sin in borrowing. Presidency is saying. We all agree that there's no sin in borrowing. If anything, borrowing is a good thing. Businessmen would always tell you that. But are we becoming irresponsible with our borrowing? Okay, that's a question Nigerians should answer, but we're moving on from that story. Nigeria, 6 others affected as Saudi Arabia suspends block work visa. Saudi Arabia suspends block work visa. APC primaries, Amechi gave Tinubu dose of his own medicine. Shoyinka, we took that story earlier. 50 killed, 15 parishes shot by armed herders in Makurdi diocese. Okay, 50 killed, 15 parishes shot by armed herders in Makurdi diocese. A Catholic priest are saying that. Coincidentally, a priest, a reverend father, is the governor of the state, and that's a very sad one. To the Guardian we quickly go to. The Guardian is leading with the story 2027. Opposition coalition shops for candidate as APC mocks effort. Again, we are not talking about the economic challenges Nigerians are facing. We are fixated on 2027. Who would sit on that saddle once again? That's what our politicians are doing. You and I are watching it. We're not petitioning. We're not talking about things that concern you and I. We can no longer buy a bag of rice. If we scream, we would have some noodles or some cups thrown in our faces as palliatives. Maybe we should start thinking about better ways to negotiate towards leadership. Just as the politicians are negotiating, maybe you and I should ensure that we know what we're doing come the next election cycle. But here we are, 2027, opposition coalition shops for candidate as APC mocks effort. Above the nameplate of the Guardian newspaper, Saudi Arabia evicts 205,000 unauthorized pilgrims from Mecca. Forum appeals for relocation of Giwa barracks as IEDs kill 9 in Borno. Arewa grieves over Niger flood disaster, Kanu accident. Economy not in crisis, says presidency as Afenifere rates Tinubu low. Mother allegedly hires to beat vice principal for confiscating son's phone. We take that. Subscribers lament as fiber cuts disruption services nationwide. I don't know if you faced it. Some communication networks were completely shut down. Some of us could not use internet at all. It was sad. But quickly we move on now to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Manufacturers lament mounting challenges, and it says 767 manufacturing companies shut down in 2023, over 18,000 jobs lost in 2024. Cost of imported raw materials surged by 118%. Spending on alternative energy hit 1.11 trillion naira in 2024. Federal government mandate compensation scheme for public workers. NSITF joins federal head of civil service to sensitize civil servants. Kanu accident, fatigue, excessive speeding caused death of 21 athletes. That's coming from the Federal Road Safety Corps. NDLEA boss syndicate sponsoring pilgrims with cocaine to Hajj. Now, I think it's the same story with the opioids, but it's quite unfortunate because usually you wouldn't think that someone who's going for a noble religious or spiritual journey would want to, you know, to try to move cocaine. That's very sad. FARC allocation to states up by 62% in 2 years coming from the presidency. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. We know that the presidency increased FARC allocation to states. Was that a good move? Has it been impactful? Are we recording better use of our monies? Well, the presidency should appraise itself and know whether that FARC allocation, while we applaud it, did it work? This is where we will end the newspaper review segment. For stories I have read here, you can always pick papers and get details of it. But it was wonderful to have you be with me as we go through the papers. Remember, we are moving on now to discuss toxic love or bond, mental health, relationships, and healing in the changing Nigeria. There's so much to discuss, so stay with us. Promises to be very interesting. We'll be back after this short break where I'll be joined by an expert who would be having this conversation, an honest conversation. We'll be right back.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart. In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greener solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
In Nigeria, the conversation around toxic relationships, mental health, and everything in between is gaining urgency. As the society evolves, so has pressures from economy to family, everything. You know, hardships and cultural expectations to trauma and silence, which has become a killer actually. In this conversation, we will sit with a UK-based therapist to explore the signs of toxic relationships, the impact of mental health on love and marriages, and how we as Nigerians can begin to heal and set healthier standards. That's the ticker for me here, healthier standards in our homes and society. I want to thank you so much for being part of the show this morning. It's wonderful to have a therapist. We don't have, we often do not have therapists. Yeah. We have Mr. Chuks Emefiele, therapist in UK. You don't happen to be related to the Emefiele, are you?
I played the fifth.
That often means more than...
I played the fifth.
He plays the Fifth Amendment in Nigeria.
Seriously?
Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Welcome to the studios. It's so wonderful to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go straight to it. In your experience, and you've practiced in outside Nigeria.
Yes.
And when you look back, you see the cultural influence, religious influence as well, sometimes societal and all that. What would you say mental health, poor mental health manifests in relationships? Do we project anything in our relationships? How can couples begin to address it early?
I'm going to start this way. Every human being, you have feelings and emotions. And once your feelings and emotions are troubled, you are at risk of serious mental health issues. Challenges of life. Mm-hmm. No 2 days are alike.
No 2 days are alike.
No 2 days are alike. You wake up today, something different.
Absolutely.
So life is like more of a rat race, and you have everything just closing up on you. And they all trigger different stress, anxiety, depression, name it all. So, and how you react to the stresses, the stressors and the stress determines your mental well-being.
Wow.
Yes. So it affects every institution of life, marriage, your work, relationships, everything. But a lot of people don't understand the effect of stress on their daily living. Yes, we have good stress that can spoil you to
right, to do more.
But when it becomes very debilitating that you can't function anymore, then that's when you need help. So now, mental health is relatively a very new discipline that is gaining acceptance in the world. Before, people would never thought anything about mental health.
Wow.
So in the Western world, now, it's taken seriously. In Africa, there are lots of advocacies coming out now. So, but it's not what it should be. Because when you go to some hospitals and everything, nobody talks mental health.
Yeah.
Yes. There are no mental health departments. I had to pass the bill not too long ago, mental health.
In mental health, yeah.
So Passing the bill is one thing.
Implementation, here we go again.
There's a will.
But I mean, it's still something to celebrate when you look at where we were, where it was a lunatic act. But let's not go there. That was very sad. Now you have admitted that in Nigeria there's growing awareness of mental health, but stigma still exists.
Exactly, yes.
Stigma still exists where if I have to tell my friends, for instance, that I want intervention, mental health intervention, I want to see a therapist, I am considered, forgive my word, but mad.
Exactly.
How do, especially, how do we,
the issues.
how do we get to normalize it? I mean, you're the right person to ask as a mental health expert.
The advocacies out there, they have to just keep hyping. You all right? Now, there's this cultural thing that when you talk about mental health, our understanding previously of mental health is a madman or madwoman dressed in rags and all that, you know. But you will never believe that a man dressed in nice, you know,
outfit,
beautiful suit with his nice briefcase going to his office has those serious mental health issues. You never believe that a woman dressed in nice, skirt, you know, skirt, suit, everything, works as a chief executive officer, has got mental health issues. You couldn't believe that pastors, like some pastors dropping in the pulpit, mental health issues. Mental health covers the whole life of men and women.
Wow.
Yes. So, like, people are not taking enough rest. Not taking enough rest is bad for your mental health. It's like running an engine 24/7. A time comes, it grinds to a halt. Even God, who created the world, took a rest on the seventh day. So why wouldn't you take a rest?
Absolutely.
Yes. So,
but with economic pressures, I mean, it's almost...
It's a catch-22 in Nigeria that people have to survive, you know, and the economic hardship in Nigeria gives a lot of mental health issues to Nigerians. When you're thinking how you're going to feed your family, you don't have money in your pocket tomorrow. You're thinking all through the night, you're up. You wake up in the morning, you want to go to work. Your daughter is going back to university. Your son is going back to university. You haven't got enough money to pay their tuition fees.
Yeah.
You're racking your brain all through the night. How's that going to work? It impacts your marriage, number one. Because all through the night, you're thinking, well, who is going to lend me money? Your kids want to go back to university. How are you going to do it? Now, before you know it, it moves further into insomnia. You're going to have sleepless nights. You want to sleep, you can't sleep anymore.
Wow.
Your sleep pattern is distorted. So, mental health covers different aspects of our daily living.
It does.
Yes.
But let's go to relationships.
Yes.
Because, you know, I mean, before we came on here, we were discussing behind the scenes about this dangerous trend of women who leave Nigeria, go abroad, and they understand the laws that protect them. You would think that would strengthen their relationship.
No,
but we have the reverse being the case. And we're hearing Nigerians say, whatever happens, don't bring your wives to this country. It's unfortunate that that's the conversation we're having. Like, leave them there. When they come here and see that they have laws here, they manipulate the laws and you lose everything.
It's not that. You see, put it this way. It's real trouble for Nigerians in the diaspora. All right? I'm sure one of my friends is watching right now. I mentioned the girl in you said no-go area.
No-go area?
Of course. Now, the women here, the laws here, don't support women like the laws in the diaspora. All right? I'll give you an instance. I had a situation with one of my tenants, and I went to the property. They didn't want to pay my rent, and I tried to gain access. They shut the door against me. I called the police. The police said, where are you? I said, I'm out of the property. And I said, leave the property, go to your lawyer. Now, this same tenant who was owing me 6 months rent, they're not Nigerians, Romanians, called the police, said, when I pushed back, that she sustained injuries. So I was sitting in my house. I saw a police at my door. And we sat on my dining table. I told the police what happened. He was quite sympathetic as a landlord. That he understands. Then my wife was coming down the stairs. He said, "Is that your wife?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you know if you have issues with your wife and you now decided to leave to go and buy a drink, and when you walk back to your own house or where you live with your wife has locked the door, the key there, so you can't come in?" And he said to me, "If you force your way in, I will arrest you."
That's even with in your own home.
My own home.
Your own wife.
He told me he will arrest me for forceful entry into my house. Look, I lived in Britain nearly 30 years. I didn't know this. That's how much the law protects them. And I said, what do I do? Say, go to a hotel, rest, try and have communication, open up communication channels with your wife. If she allows you in, you come back. If she doesn't allow you in, go look for a family friend. Yes, that's my own house. So when women move from Nigeria,
where the reverse is the case, your husband locks you outside.
The men lock the women out.
Yeah,
and say, "Get out of my house."
And neighbors would support it because again, that's his house.
Remember, most of the men here, maybe you built your property and all that, and you now say, "Listen, man, you change the locks," and the woman comes, no access. What's she gonna do? You go call the police here? Police will be laughing at you.
Like that's his house. What do you mean?
But in the UK, once a guy married, he had a shop in north of London, Cricklewood area, an African shop. They used to live in a council apartment. They now bought a property, a nice house where they lived, where he had issues with his wife. The wife kicked him out of the house. Now, he tried to move into the council house. The wife's younger sister lived in the council house. So that's where he went and took a room there. So living with his sister-in-law.
Right.
So he's been kicked out of the main house. So when women travel out of Nigeria, and maybe you just marry one from Nigeria, you live in the US, Canada, wherever, the law protects the women more than the men. Yes, it does. And a lot of our women weaponize
these laws.
Of course. To their own advantage.
That's unfortunate.
Yes, it does happen. So that is the fear of many people not wanting to come back to Nigeria to marry Nigerian women. So a lot of them are marrying maybe Ugandans and all that. Yes.
But what is fundamentally wrong with it? Because I still do not understand why. Oh yeah, now I know. Because here we record a lot of domestic violence. We record all of these issues around women laws not being upheld, and I should use the laws that now protect me as a cushion, but not weaponize it.
The thing is
it that the relationship or the coupling in the first place had a bad background?
They got issues. You see, things that would not warrant calling the police, they call the police. If you call the police here to attend your home, police won't even, I'm so sorry, Nigerian police, I'm not hitting you hard, all right? You got issues at home, police, like robbers and all that, I hear so many stories. Police might not attend. So you now want to call the police that your husband is beating you. They will tell you you're a joker, madam. There's so many people wanting to move into that home, especially if the man is a rich man. That's the problem.
Right. Okay, so what are those very subtle but dangerous signs of toxic marriages? And how can the rest of us help? Because we live in a society, and I need you to be very relatable to our society, where often you watch from your windows, you watch. But what are those subtle signs of toxic marriage?
One of the things I really wanted to discuss with you is this: the problems we have affecting marriage, and now all this is impacting our mental health. A lot of people get married, they never conducted due diligence before they get married. A lot of people are more interested in the relationship, starting a relationship, than getting to know the man or the woman you want to be in a relationship with. It's a major problem why marriages are failing. Even the women they are bringing from Nigeria to diaspora. A lot of Nigerians in diaspora marry, they want to marry your title. Maybe a medical doctor, you are a nurse, especially people in the United States. That will make money for the family. So you are looking for not just a wife, We're looking for a woman that will improve your financial status in the United States.
And that in itself is
that is
wrong
disaster from the
background.
onset. That's a
Right.
wrong foundation.
Right.
All right? So your family says, we got this nurse. Oh, that's fine. You come check out. You don't check nothing. When I was growing up as a young man, all right? My father emphasized, people in my days, good character, good name, family name, good morals. Now, we don't have that anymore. Everything now is money. And money is destroying relationships, marriages. Money is been exalted above good character, above good name, and good morals.
Well, beyond money, there was such a time that there's this traditional vetting that happens.
Exactly.
But who do you ask these days? Everybody minds their business.
Listen, in those days, marriage was family to family.
Yes.
But now, no.
The meeting in
With
cities,
globalization, you see, the problem with the white society is that they're very individualistic. Now, that is now crept into Africa. Before, we were very communal. Now, we are becoming very individualistic. Now, look at so many families in Nigeria. You hear one sibling in Germany, one in UK, one in Canada. In the next 50 years, we're going to have disintegrated families. That all we'll be doing now is family reunion like they do in the United States, where you may meet once in 5 years. That wasn't what it used to be. Before, fathers vetted for their children to marry.
Yes, true.
Now, a young man finds a wife for himself. Even when the father says, what I'm seeing, I don't think is right. Dad, I know. Why? Dad will just keep quiet because he is paying the bills for mom and dad.
Exactly.
So your hands are tied. Before, now what's going on? A young girl gets to the university, first semester, comes home, the dad's a teacher or whatever, government official, hasn't got all that money, is managing good man. The daughter comes back Christmas with iPhone 16. The father cannot ask the child, where did you get iPhone 16 from? Now the girl arrives home, not just with iPhone 16, goes straight to the store, brings a bag of rice, bag of things.
For the home.
For the home.
And is welcomed.
The parents' hands are tied. Now, I'm not going to hit the women. These girls walk in close proximity with their mamas, their moms. Now the mom will say, oh, now hyper, Ezibonwa, if he's able, we'll give all those names, you know.
In applause.
Yes.
For a child who isn't working.
A child of 19, 18, whatever. This is what is killing the society.
It is.
How will marriages survive? Now, but let me just put this there. So, I talked about conducting due diligence. People don't conduct due diligence. And especially, it's worse for women now that many pursue their masters, they pursue their career. Now, the age of marriage is gone higher. So, 35, 36, 40. It's so, the older you get, the slimmer the pool of men you can have. Once you hit 40, the type of men that are open to you are either divorcees
or widowers.
Now, how many are there? Where would you meet them? And once you get to 40, you become a red flag. What have you been doing since? So, why haven't men taken you? Another thing I'm going to say to people that will help them. When you buy a car now from the car dealership, the mileage starts clocking, right? It gets to a time you service. A lot of us don't do what we call marriage audit.
Marriage audit?
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's
a concept.
Marriage audit. Yes.
We do not have that much time.
No.
But just give us like a
Let me tell you.
master class.
We are human beings. We all change. You used the word evolved when you were talking earlier on. We all, on daily basis, we change. That's why I was saying to you, I wanted to speak about why people change in marriage. There's so many things why people change in marriage. Yes, people change in marriage for so many reasons. If a man now gets a top job, his circle of friends change.
Naturally.
Yes. And today I'm going to a board meeting. I'm going to this, I'm going to this. The money is coming. But now that closeness with a wife is gradually.
But does it have to be?
It does. Because before he didn't have that job, he didn't have those responsibilities. His home.
What are mechanisms you can use to manage your new
These
role
are the things
and the evolution?
that is why we need to have a marriage audit. Like every month, I encourage everybody married, do a marriage audit. If you want to conduct a marriage audit, look for a safe place. The right time, the right place. Look for a safe place where both of you can be emotionally vulnerable to each other.
Right.
All right? Now, it is not a time to judge each other. It is a time to look back 1 month. Listen, we all come into marriages with our needs, whether we like it or not. Am I still fulfilling your needs?
Are the needs different?
Needs are different.
Because I mean, we used to have this one jacket fit, or
it doesn't work.
A woman wants protection. A woman wants.
No,
it's not always
our
the same.
needs are different. Listen, no two human beings are alike.
Yeah, like
So,
you said earlier, no
two marriages are
the
alike.
same.
So look for. Let me tell you, one of the problems we have is you've been in a relationship, dating a guy 5 years. It's failed. Now you meet the next guy. You want to love this guy the same way you loved Tunde? No. Ask me, how do I want to be loved? Customize the love for me and give it to me, and I will do same, so that you can hold me accountable when I am not meeting your needs in relationship. I have given you my needs. Can you give me my needs? Then, in marriage audit, both of you sit and say, honey, you know what? You haven't given me this the last 1 month. Your attention is, I know you got a new job. You understand?
Right.
But you are no more visible at home. The kids miss you. I miss you. I miss those intimate talks and conversations. Now, by the time you come back, it's so late. Kids are sleeping. I'm sleeping and getting ready to go to work. Relationships beginning to suffer. How can we have a work
the better balance? Right.
Correct. So you get all this through marriage audit. Keep a date and time. Get out of the house. You can go somewhere, go to spa after you've treated your wife as a man. The nice spa treatment. They've given her a good massage. Everything is on spot. You go into take 1 weekend, for yourselves. Get somebody to take care of the kids. Get into a hotel. And after all the whatever,
have this candid conversation.
Now, get in, do the wild thing. Everybody is happy, and let's now go in that spirit. And you talk about, have your points ready. You're going to talk about the needs that your husband or your boyfriend is not meeting.
Okay, so I really need your advice, because a lot of people are watching you now and wondering.
Yes.
A lot has happened. Very often pain. Yes. A lot of sometimes psychological damage has happened. Emotional damage has happened.
Yes.
Is there hope? Can couples still rebuild? And what do they need to do to rebuild, clean slate all over again, and try to get the marriage on track?
Listen, I'm doing therapy for so many people. You will not believe what I hear when they come to talk to me. There's some very little things. You see, a lot of people have these unspoken needs. I am not psychic. I'm married.
Right.
You're expecting I should know.
No.
No, I'm busy. Tell me. And when you have these unspoken needs, the next one, oh, he didn't do this for me. It builds up. Before you know, you begin to have an outburst. Oh, this is when people can say, oh, we are drifting apart. How? My question to people is, do you track the changes happening in your marriage? You need to track the changes. That my wife is doing this, or my husband is not doing this. When you track the changes, it helps you when you come to a marriage audit. That we are drifting apart. What's causing this? Let's talk about it. Now, for people who have been in toxic relationships, I'm not an advocate for divorce. It's only when it becomes very unworkable,
right.
And it's this physical violence. I know a lot of people now talk about emotional violence. But listen, people just say some things, they don't even understand it. Now, a lot of people use the word love language. I was traveling on the train back to work from London, and I engaged this young woman, a Nigerian girl, and she said, no, my love language. And I said, what's love language? She didn't want the languages. So there's so many cliches out there now because of the internet. People are running emotional intelligence. Ask somebody, what is emotional intelligence? The person doesn't know it. And before you know it, you're not there, I'm being emotionally abused. What is emotional abuse? You don't know. Your friend just said to you, that's an emotional abuse because you mentioned it to your friend.
And you run with it.
You run with it. And you now begin to say, the man is emotional abusing me. And for very little things that are fixable, if you can't handle it within both of you, you can seek for help from people like me, you know, a therapist. And we have to peel the onion bulb from layer to layer.
Right.
And we'll have to help you make sense of your feelings that you can get in touch with. Have a better understanding of what you are feeling. Because sometimes you are built up with this resentment and anger, but your husband or your wife doesn't even know what's going on. You expect him to know. No, he doesn't. Tell him, I'm not feeling good in this relationship right now. But not in a judgmental way, not in a condescending manner. I always tell some people, use the sandwich approach. If I want to talk to you finally as my wife, I'm going to tell you your strength, all the good things about you. Then my needs that are not met, I put it like in between. Then I will wrap it up with another bread bun at the bottom like a sandwich.
So it doesn't come off as aggressive, or demeaning.
A sandwich approach. Just tell, look, you're so good for me with the kids, you do all this. I love you, I appreciate you. But you know what? I put in my needs in between. Then I bring another bread and put on that to make a complete sandwich. You are so good. I hope you understand me. Thank you. I love you. Give your husband a hug.
Right. So, I mean, I'm sure you also, you know how the counseling and therapy sector in Nigeria is. Do we have enough here? And what are options that we have? And in the same vein, because we really have run out of time as you're answering that, a lot of people run to their religious leaders. And
very bad.
Exactly. So how can they know that these people often are not trained?
Your husband is first before your pastor. If you respect your pastor more than your husband, that marriage is doomed to fail. Yes. Your husband is your king. Respect your husband. All right? Bring up that question again. There's something you just said in that question. Just so that
the second part of it is for people around who we don't have enough therapists. Yeah. How do they manage? Because often they have to run to their pastors.
Let me tell you one of the reasons now destroying what a lot of our African men are very traditional.
Is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But the one I don't like is the toxic one.
Right.
All right? That's why when you meet a woman, find out, can this woman give me my cultural needs? You don't go and get a young woman, you know, who doesn't speak your language, but she's from your place. She's never even taught your language. She doesn't know your culture. She was raised in Abuja, in Lagos, Kaduna, Jos. Maybe you are Igbo Delta. She doesn't know your culture. She is a foreigner in Nigeria. She's more like an expatriate in Nigeria. She can't speak your language. She doesn't know your culture. You marry her. You are a traditional man. You want her to give you, satisfy your traditional needs. Yeah. Don't you think you have hit the wrong button?
Is it necessarily? I had a conversation with someone who recently, the man has the, permit me to say, abroad mentality where you are very careful with the woman. Yes. And the woman has the Nigerian environment that she grew up in, where I need my man assertive. You want something, tell me you want it, I'll come running. But you are being careful to say, is it okay for you? And it's becoming a rift. How would you settle that?
You know, these are the things we find out when we conduct due diligence.
Right.
When you are courting. What do you do when you are courting?
Oh, okay.
Do you just meet somebody, bang, you're in bed before you... I say to people, don't start doing the wild thing when you haven't conducted due diligence.
Right.
Because once the wild thing goes in and your head is not turned backwards with the best wild thing,
exactly.
You cannot ask uncomfortable questions.
Yeah.
When it comes time for you to ask, you, especially the women,
Considerations now
you begin
coming.
to think, I hope if I ask him, he will not walk away from me. But because you have been sexually committed to him,
Right.
you don't want to lose him. So now you are now in between the deep blue sea and oblivion.
Right.
You don't want to lose him, so you don't ask. And you now get into marriage, you now start sinking. You begin to see those bad things will not amplify because every day he is in your face.
And,
So
and the time you had to address those
you
things,
didn't do
you
it.
didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
Mr. Mefele, thank you so much for being part of the program. I mean, I am here already feeling like I just had a therapy session.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And we will be having more conversations. Even when you travel back,
If
we
you can
virtually,
do that,
we can virtually.
I will gladly
Right.
come, and I can bring some of my professional colleagues.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you can
Absolutely.
hear different perspectives.
That'll be wonderful.
We'll do that.
Thank you. And
We
well
are
done
up for strong marriages. We want to build, the marriage institution is failing. And it is not good for our children.
Right.
Our children are now beginning to see marriage as something bad. Do you know what some people are asking for now? They don't want this vows, marital
The vows,
vows.
right.
All right? They now want marriage to be like contract. 5
Listen,
years.
this is what I can do at this
5
time.
years. No, 5 years. We're married for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, we come and
renew.
review it.
Oh my
So
goodness.
is it working? If it's not working, can we take a break of 2 years?
Oh no, it doesn't
A
look that
lot of
transactional.
people- of course. The society is evolving. A lot of people are getting tired of divorce because the kids don't want to keep relationships anymore. They say, my father's and my mom, it's not working. So why am I going to invest my time in that?
Wow.
So I would rather stay single and just meet people I want to meet with.
Mr. Mefele, again, I thank you for being part of the program. We really have run out of time
No worries.
as Sustainability Pulse with Ebide is standing
Thank you.
by. We'll be back after that. Stay with us. This is still Aso Morning.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to The Pulse.
to Sustainability Pulse with Abide, where we keep our ears on the planet, our hearts on the people, and our eyes on the future. Today's episode is one that's very dear to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people as well. We're looking inwards. We're talking about sustainability and the African identity. Because let's face it, when we say sustainability, the images that come to your mind are often foreign. Solar panels in Germany, vegan cafes in California, climate marches, in Paris. What about the calabash in Kano? What about our ancestors who built mud homes that stayed cool without electricity? What about the grandmothers who reused plastic bowls over and over? So even before the reuse was a trend or a buzzword, they reused plastics as much as possible. Let's localize this narrative. Let's reclaim our heritage as original climate leaders. Let's go first. Let's look at our global news for today. But before we delve into our news and our global snapshots, as usual, we will go on a short break and come back and give you the latest updates on where we are, what the UN is doing, what Africans report on various areas around climate. But we would delve right into that once we return from the break. So we're going on a very short break and we'll return shortly.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Abide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food.
Welcome back from that short break, and it is Sustainability Pulse with Abide, and we're here to give you the global updates of what has been happening. Now, last week, United Nations Environment Programme released its State of the Climate in Africa report. Africa is warming faster than the global average, with temperatures rising 0.3 degrees Celsius per decade since 1991. That's higher than the global rate of 0.2 degrees Celsius per decade. Meanwhile, over 60% of Africa's population is directly dependent on land, water, and forests for their livelihood. Yet, the continent contributes less than 4% of the global emissions. This is something we talked about all the time. How can we be, the lowest emitters, lowest global emitters in terms of global emissions, and yet we suffer the most? We are greatly hit by the impact and crisis of climate change. Now, the Lagos State Waste Management Authority just launched the Blue Box Initiative. Again, it's to push household recycling in urban areas. But in contrast, rural communities in Benue, Ekiti, and parts of Enugu have been composting food waste for generations without any policy. That's the fact. The message is clear. Africa is already sustainable, but we don't always recognize it. Let's talk about our roots. Let's go back to the roots and let's see where we are. Long before climate conferences, long before carbon credits and ESG, African societies were living sustainably, not out of luxury, but out of deep respect for nature. And here are a few examples. From the Moxdome mud houses in Cameroon to the Zanki homes in northern Nigeria, African architecture used local, breathable, low-impact materials without electricity or cement. Fact. And these homes stayed warm in cold seasons and cool in the heat. Now, architects in Europe call it bioclimatic architecture. Well, hey, we've been doing that. We've been doing that from the days of our forefathers. We built our homes with mods. We didn't have to have electricity to, to stay cool. No, we had these things. Right here in Africa, we had it. In rural Ethiopia, urine diverting dry toilets were used to preserve water and enrich soil. In Nigeria, leftover food was used to feed animals or composted before it became zero waste on TikTok. Come on, do you remember when our aunties turned old wrappers into baby slings, cushions, and even curtains? Today, that's called upcycling. Our people were doing circular economy before it had a name. From millet to moringa, our indigenous crops were drought resistant and nutrient rich. Smallholder farming, rotational systems, and communal harvest practices were not just traditions, they were sustainable models. Facts. Now let's pause. Let's just pause for a minute and think. Africa is not new to sustainability. We just haven't always called it those names. And here's where the tension lies. Modernization has come, and that's not a bad thing at all. We are not against modernization. But in many cases, modernity is replacing tradition instead of respecting it. Let's talk, for example, our plastic containers replaced calabashes and gourds. But now we're drowning in plastic waste. Can you beat that? You can imagine back in the days when we had our mud plates, our plates and our pots from this thing. But right now we have plastics, which are now used as preservation methods. But hey, listen. I mean, all of these things came as a result of modernization as well. Cement replaced mud. Why? But our homes now need fans and ACs, increasing carbon emissions. Imported wheat and rice replaced sorghum, fonio and millets, leaving us food insecure and soil depleted. The solution is not to reject modern tech, not at all. We're not going to do that, but to blend it with indigenous wisdom. What has worked for us? What has been here before now? Imagine a solar-powered borehole system that uses traditional water storage pots to keep water cool, or modern buildings in Abuja with clay walls for insulation, or even food delivery apps that promote local superfoods instead of imported junks. This is what true African sustainability looks like. Not a copy-paste of the West, but a fusion of modern science and cultural intelligence. Let's be real. Africa is often seen as a victim of climate change. And yes, we are vulnerable, but we are also solution bearers. And if we begin to value and document our indigenous practices, we will shape global sustainability conversations, not just to react to them. Kenya's Green Belt movement, started by Wangari Maathai, was one of the first community-based reforestation models in the world. In Ghana, eco-villages based on traditional land practices are now studied by United Nations Habitats. In Senegal, farmers are reviving traditional agroforestry, planting trees on farmland to reduce biodiversity. It not be today. Let's just face it, it's not today. It's not today. No, we didn't just start it today. But it's time to see ourselves as climate pioneers, not perpetual aid recipients. No, as pioneers of climate itself. You listening to me today, yes, you have a heritage that is already green. Reclaim it, revive it, reinvent it. We're going to a short break and we're back shortly. Stay with us. It's Sustainability Pulse, but we're back shortly, to continue this conversation.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling.
Welcome back from that short break, and like we're having a conversation around sustainability and African identity. And we gave spotlights, gave examples, took us back to our roots, to where we're coming from and where we are currently. But we said something just before we went on break. It's time we reclaim it, we revive it, and reinvent it. We have a heritage already that is green. Here is our time. The time is now. We need to reclaim, revive, and reinvent. And let's look at, you know, what are the indigenous practices do you remember from your childhood? I know there's so many practices you can think of that happened as a child you can remember. Was it food storage, fashion reuse, or building styles? Write it down. What one way can you revive or modernize it in your own home now or your community? And what I simply mean is, I'm sure when you sit down and reflect, you can think of ways that you had lived sustainably growing up, or things you had witnessed, you know, as a child growing up. How can you reinvent in today's communication when it comes to implementation of the SDGs, or even implementing sustainability in the ideal form? You know, now these are the things that you need to tell your children about, tell your colleagues, your family members, talk to elders, post about it. Because every time we reclaim our roots, we actually reclaim our future. Now, sustainability is not foreign to Africa, like I have earlier, you know, talked about. We need more to remember. We just need to remember, you know, how it was, respect it and reimagine it. And we can't stop talking about it enough. It's a lot that can be done. There's actually a lot that can be done. But how do we go about it? How do we go about it? What's the way forward? How do you reimagine that sustainability practice you lived with while growing up? How do you reimagine it? How do you reinvent? How do you reclaim it? It's not new. But guess what? It's something we can all circle back to and see how we can be part of. Let's keep talking about this. That Africa in itself is not new to sustainability. We have lived it, we have practiced it, and we're here to relive it and reimagine it and reclaim. The truth is, in as much as we are very vulnerable at this point, even as a continent, as the lowest emitters, but still, there is still a pathway on how we can revive, you know, what used to be our sustainable practices, you know, back then. It's not too late. And for people listening today, let's reclaim that culture, that climate culture we know we've so talked about. Let's reclaim it. And I'll leave you with this, really. Sustainability is not about copying others. No. And that is the misconception sometimes when you have to talk to people. It's not about copying others. It's about connecting back to who we've been and what we've always been. And we can't stop that. We can't begin to say, oh, it's not really our problem because we're not emitting as much. But guess what? We are experiencing the hazard. The impact is enormous. And we can't stop at this point. We need to keep talking, and we need to keep driving the conversation. If you're listening, like I keep saying and emphasizing, in your own small and little way, what can you do? What are the practices you can do from your home, in your office, with your family? Talk about it, share it, discuss it, simplify it. That bottle, that water bottle, it's reusable. Keep reusing it. You don't have to get the bottles that you discard easily. Reuse plastic. Refuse single-use plastic. Go to a shopping mall. Go with your bag. As simple as that. You're stepping out of your house. Switch off your lights. As basic as that. You're using water. Once you're done, you turn it off. Be conscious of the amount of water you use. As simple as that. Waste management consciousness. As simple as that. How do you dispose your waste? And these are conversations for Africans to sit down and reflect on how best we can reclaim some of these practices. How do we get to that consciousness? How do we get ourselves to that level where we say, of course, even though we are suffering the most, but still we are able to give value in reclaiming who we are. We're able to drive this whole conversation around sustainability and live it and practice it consciously. So, I really want to enjoin you all to keep listening to us, keep watching us on the polls. This is where you get your bold truths, your hard truths, your simplification when it comes to understanding sustainability. You get it here on this platform. Like I keep saying as well, join a movement. This is not just a show. This is not just a program. It's not just a morning tease. It is a movement. Join the movement. Volunteer. So many things you can do. And until next time, I enjoin you all to live consciously. Honor your heritage. Because at the end of the day, this is all we have. This is all we have, and we cannot stop at this. So as always, as this episode ends, do not forget that consciousness can make that shift. And we all have to come together to ensure that the work we do, our actions and inactions reflect that sustainable living. And that's the only way we can actually make a shift. So until next time, make your efforts, make the shifts, drive the conversations in your groups, encourage yourselves, be in your actions and inactions, reclaim it, revive it. I recall there was one time we had our grandmother who used to stay with us. A lot of us had that kind of experience, and she would always, emphasize on, reusing our plates. If there are plastic plates in the house, why would you go and buy another one? If you're going out to go and even buy a meal, you must hold your plate. Go with your plate. You don't have to, get a new one. And these are practices they were all used to. But now, what do? Imagine if every supermarket in Abuja decides to now sell their plastic bags instead of giving it for free. I'm very sure more than half of us listening to us today would go to that supermarket with their own shopping bags. That's what happens when we push for implementation. But we have to be conscious about it. And until next time, like I keep saying, live consciously, honor that heritage, go back to those old practices where we're conscious enough to ensure that we didn't encourage waste. No, let's reinvent it, let's reimagine it, let's go back to our roots. Africa as a continent is not new to sustainability, and so it's something we can actually reclaim. But as we move on from this episode, I'm re-emphasizing again, I am pushing for it again, I am saying it again and again. We have to learn to live consciously. We have to ensure that sustainability is the heart of everything we do. And until next time, stay with us Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 a.m. on this your preferred channel 329 on DSTV, Aso TV, and join us in pushing this movement to seeing a greener, cooler and better world for all. And until next time, I remain Abide, your pulse checker, the host of Sustainability Pulse with Abide. Until next time, have a good morning and blessed week, sustainably. Yeah, have a good day.
Sustainability Pulse with Ebide. Thank you so much for once again giving us those very important tips. But it's time for agriculture for today and tomorrow, where Daniel Black is constantly giving us beautiful, wonderful, innovative, smart agricultural tips, all so that you can contribute to ensuring there is food for all of us to eat. Our agricultural food security initiatives. We'll be right back after that.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, where we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. I remain Daniel Black, your host, and this is a Media for Agricultural Development project of GSAI, that's Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative. Did you know that we are in the month of mental health? Did you know that mental health is an issue that cuts across everybody, both young and old, educated and non-educated, and any kind of social strata or classification you want to use? This month, as farmers, as stakeholders in the agricultural sector, we will be commemorating the mental health, because this is the month of mental health. And today on Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, we are spotlighting a mental health activist, a mental health advocate, someone that has been talking so much in mental health and has gone beyond talking and even penning down guides to mental health. Penning them, so importantly, this guide is that even the Federal Ministry of Youth and Youth Development got to align and got to identify with this guide and even got to be part of its launching. So today we are going to be talking with Lucy E. Abel, the founder and executive director for Mental Health for Youth Initiative, and we are going to be talking on a topic, or it's not a topic, but we are going to be spotlighting the Embrace Your Mind and Mental Health guide. Do farmers need this guide? Let us get to know about it. Lucy, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Lucy, I must say I am very proud of you. I am very, very proud of the work you're doing around mental health. And as farmers, you know, we need to begin to explore how we manage our mental health. So without taking so much time, let us just get to see. Can you lift the book? Let us see your mental health guide. You know, it's your baby, and I know how long you've been working on this, and for it to come to a fruition. So tell us about the book, the bit history. Let's start from when you ideated this.
Right. So 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yes. So in 2022,
yes,
we had reached out to the Ministry of Youth. We registered with them as a non-profit, and we thought the mental health of young people, nothing's really been said about it. And if you really look at it, when when mental health issues are addressed from a young age, you are more likely to have a
It's easier to build a boy than repair a man.
Yeah, exactly.